The fact that Miku just up and left because, well, she's not an idiot, right? She knows that they are screwed. She is such a analyst that she can, like, analyze so perfectly that she literally had books of notes and place someone as an imposter so she could get the hell out of Dodge, take a couple of people with her so she can repopulate the population, drop Shota jokes, and just seriously, this character has turned out to be far more entertaining than I was originally thinking walking into a show like this. And seriously, I mean, I don't think I'm alone based on the comments. There's been quite a few weeks where I think we all agree that the way the so-called gods are being presented, since they are our central focus, they almost seem way more like the general antagonist you'd fight in a series, and the demon side, while questionable in more ways than one, honestly, the way they have families and the way they care for families, they seem a little more human than, you know, the heroes we're supposed to be rooting for. But with such a colorful palette and badass action, it's hard not to always be cheering alongside the characters. And it's interesting because I wasn't expecting this. I mean, granted, I was expecting this eventually, just not so soon, because seemingly they're going to win. The biggest question is, will there be any form of casualty before that victory, which could happen. Even look at the Emperor, he's like, yeah, we know we lost, but I'm gonna at the very least try to kill you. Will it work? Probably not, but you have to be willing for that possibility because this is a brutal series, right? But the fact of the matter is, I mean, once they all reunited, I mean, like the idea was that Miku was saying, if that happens, they're going to invade. And when you see someone able to cut a city in half with a single strike, you kind of know it's game over. And this was such a fascinating episode because you get more information and perspectives that you don't usually see in a show with a god-human dynamic. Because if there ever is gods interacting with humans, you don't really expect them to say, hey, we don't give a shit if you're profiting off this. We don't give a shit if, you know, a bunch of people end up dead. We just give a shit if the entire population ends up dead, but you do you. Just don't go to war with this nation because it's not good for us. But yeah, if you want to make merchandise and mooch off our names, go ahead. That doesn't happen in anime, and if it does, I haven't seen it, and it's definitely not common enough to be widespread knowledge. So to start an episode off where you have two characters who may not on a physical level be the most capable, but being able to essentially manipulate and pull the strings puppeteer style in the exact same way anyone like Hayato or Prontia or Rin can do, is kind of incredible. That's probably the biggest selling point that this show has going for, is its idea of gods and humans and demons, because really when you hear about gods and humans, I think everyone has a pretty similar assumption of what that's going to be, and I really assumed that the humanity side of thing walking into this show would be like, it would be like Dragon Ball level action with laser blasts and destruction as far as the eye can see, but it would have that humanity where people would care about humans and this and that on the god side, and the demon side would just be like the monster we fought in the first couple of episodes. But the fact that they have it flipped is still such an odd experience, and I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's so hard to get accustomed to because you just don't see that. And I'm really hoping this isn't going to be the last we see in anime of a show tackling it like this, because it's really interesting. And the idea of what I thought was going to be zombies, because when you see Rin fighting these like buff muscle builders, right, and their heads come off and they're like dancing around, I actually thought they were zombies because, I mean, demon zombies kind of goes hand in hand, right? It's not a absurd idea. And then when you see the girl with her hair and how she's using it almost like strands, it's interesting because the demons, they're not functioning similar to how like the god and human relationship isn't functioning in the way that I normally see. The demons aren't as well, because I think they did a great bait and switch. The first couple of episodes fighting that giant monstrosity, I thought that's what we were going to keep fighting. And the fact of the matter is, they function like very intelligent humans, where they understand that these gods we can't beat in traditional senses. So either we have to split them apart, we have to catch them off guard, and honestly, Rin did get caught off guard. I mean, seriously, their defense, they caught the most powerful character off guard. It wasn't enough to win or anything, but if she continues to do that, there's actually a path of beating Rin. And I never would have said that walking in if you said that something like the end of the episode was going to happen. But that's really cool about this, is that despite it on a visual level just being a bunch of characters beating the shit out of people and explosions and a great color palette, a lot of sexual and raunchy humor, I mean, it does have a lot of substance. And honestly, it'll be interesting because you would assume, anyway, that next week would be the end result, maybe 2 episodes maximum of what we're doing here. But where do you go from here? I imagine the cliffhanger would have to be like the seal breaking, right? Because they all left that seal, so what if one gets away and breaks the seal or something, right? Like, that would be a natural cliffhanger for episode 9 or 10, I would imagine. But at the same time, I don't truly know, because this is what I thought would be the final part of the season. I mean, everything, all the signs are pointing to training, Hayato doing really well, pretty much within a matter of days, mastering things that should probably take at least a year if you're really skilled. He's doing it in a day. It's just really good stuff. I mean, I constantly have more and more people come to my comment sections. It's usually not like the previous week. It's usually like the first few episode reviews. I keep getting comments being like, hey, you know, I seriously was going to completely skip over this, but you sold me with the whole God approach. And yeah, it's actually impressive because I heard a lot of buzz about this show and it kind of mixed into 2 camps going in. One, it was going to just be a really fun visual spectacle. And 2, there was no heart behind it. And honestly, I wasn't sure which one of those were gonna be true, and it kind of feels like the camp that didn't like it, I think didn't like it because of some of the more touchy subject matter, which is fine if they feel that way, but to say it has no substance is insane to me, because it easily could have been just an action spectacle with a great color palette, but no, like, Mappa put together a good team here with all the staff behind this, and seriously, I was walking into this show for most weeks saying I don't need a season 2, but I mean, if there's a way to do one, definitely do one. But at the same time, it almost feels like, I don't know if I'm the only one feeling it, do you almost feel like this could end in a season? Because think about it, right? You know, if they're able to defeat all of the demons, I mean, that's game over, right? I mean, they won, and you can end it that way. And normally that would feel weird, but in a fast-paced, action-packed, balls-to-the-wall, insane show like this, I think that would be okay. So, if there's room for Season 2, go for it, but in a lot of ways, even if the manga's not over, or the source material that is adapting's not over, I think there's a pretty solid way to end in a victory, or at the very least, make us think that it's going to take them 1,000 years to recover from the ass-whooping that the Idatens just put on them. And that's a kind of interesting formula. I mean, I'm excited for more. I feel like this is a show that the episodes feel like 5 minutes and they just leave you wanting more. Like, each week it gets even better like that. And honestly, episodes like these as well, just kind of like, it gives those smaller characters more time to shine. Like, certain characters aren't necessarily going to be those combat-oriented. So let them be gods to humans to manipulate the masses into not screwing themselves over. Like, seriously, the cast shouldn't work as well as it does, especially because really most productions would just run with the cool action, but like Eden Deities is like, I'm surprised. Like, I constantly keep recommending this show above a lot of shows this season for like that visual and narrative level, because it's hard not to just walk out and have fun even if there is some more mature moments and questionable humor at times. Let me know what you're feeling down below. Favorite moment, what do you think is going to happen with next week's episode? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.